I'm just going to do a little quick video now looking at asking what if Jesus was really actually the Son of God. And this is an idea that's mocked regularly, as is everything to do with Jesus, and the reason it's mocked is because people can't comprehend stuff like that, because our reality has been created for us by the media and the television, and to most people they think that it's scientifically impossible for God to actually exist on this planet as a person, but nobody really knows 100% for sure if that is actually scientifically impossible. And there are signs around the world that there is something to Jesus Christ, and I genuinely believe that he is the Son of God, or even God himself. I really do believe that Jesus is actually a human living version of God, and that means that people actually tortured and killed God himself. Just think of how scary of a fact that actually is, if that is the case, which obviously millions of people around the world also believe that to be the case as well. And yet it's so ridiculed, and Jesus himself and even God is totally ridiculed and even used to extort people every day. Obviously people like Kenneth Copeland and these faith healers all over the United States seem to have no shame. They will do anything to get paid, use God as a way to extort people in desperate situations, and people that are blind enough to put faith into people like Kenneth Copeland and the rest of them lot, the faith healers in the United States that are just obviously not interested at all in being a Christian or believing in Jesus Christ. The only thing they're interested in is extorting money from people, and they actually give Christianity a bad reputation and put people off, understandably so. When you look at it from the outside, you can't deny it, and they're not the only ones. I think Jehovah's Witnesses are a similar sort of thing, as well as many other cults and that have been set up in the name of religion and in the name of God. Even Catholicism, and that is all a farce in my opinion. But that doesn't mean that I don't believe in Jesus Christ or in the Bible, because I think that's the ultimate authority, is the Bible. Now you've got some groups of some religions that claim that they are the ultimate authority, such as the Catholic Church, but I don't believe that's what the Bible is saying anywhere. I can't find any sign of that I've read of the Bible so far. I've got to be honest, I haven't read every page of the Bible, but I've read a fair bit of it, and I've never seen anything like that. And like I say, God is so regularly mocked. Ricky Gervais is a good comedian, he's a very naturally funny person, but he also mocks God, and he claims that he knows that God isn't real. And the reason he knows that God isn't real is because his brother told him, if you actually listen to what he's saying. So his brother Ricky Gervais seems to think that his brother actually seems to know all things. You know what I mean? That's not a reason to not believe in God. Obviously, I know that's a simplification of it, and the reason he doesn't believe in God is because he doesn't think he sees any evidence of God. But if you look actually at the world, there is evidence of God everywhere. In fact, nowadays, atheism, believing in science, and even atheism is becoming its own religion. They're both becoming their own religions, and like I say, mocking God is a regular occurrence on television and throughout mainstream media. We show no respect. People in this country, in Britain and America and all around the world, show no respect for Christianity or anything of the sort, and yet people that follow Christianity are expected to show respect to everybody, and for the most part I think most of them do, because that is part of their religion or their beliefs. I don't never class myself as religious, I never have done, but I do believe that in God, and I do believe in Jesus, and I think that goes above religion at the end of the day, because religion has turned into a way of controlling people. That's all it is. I mean, the Catholic Church, you know, people look at Kenneth Copeland now and we all know what sort of a person he is, but the Catholic Church was acting like that for hundreds of years before him. He's not the first person to do it, and he won't be the last. And that is the fault of the people that are blind enough to follow him at the end of the day, I suppose. But I mean, what can you actually charge him with? What has he actually done that is illegal? He hasn't actually done anything that he could really say is illegal. He's just used God as a way to make as much money as he can, and probably as a way to evade paying taxes and everything like that as well. And he seems to put very little back into actually good causes or actually helping people himself. He's worth 750 million, Kenneth Copeland is, but that's nothing, I mean, compared to what the Catholic Church used to do at the end of the day. But it's still really ridiculous that people fall for that when you see it. I mean, you don't have to. Kenneth Copeland hasn't got a direct line to God. If anything, it looks like he's probably got a direct line to Satan, or he's more likely to have a direct line to Satan than God when you actually look at him. But people, for some reason, seem to believe that he has got a direct line to God, and people are literally paying to pray for them. I mean, which just seems absolutely crazy to me. But that's because people are lost and they always need somebody to follow, and instead of doing what the book tells them to do and following Jesus and being like Jesus, they don't know what to do, so they end up following people like Kenneth Copeland, who claims to be following Jesus when really he's just extorting money out of people. And that's it, that's the way it all works. But like I say, believing in science nowadays, it's starting to take more faith to believe in science than what it is to believe in God. I mean, when you start looking at what science is expecting us to believe and the leaps of faith that science is expected us to take. I've made videos in the past explaining that science claims the world is 4 billion years old and the universe is 13 billion years old, with no scientific proof at all, pretty much, that is the age of anything. It's like they're just pulling a number out of a hat and telling us that. I mean, they say it's based on the Big Bang theory and the speed the universe is travelling and everything like that, but the Big Bang is actually just a theory as well. There's not even no real scientific evidence that actually happened. And even if the Big Bang is one day proven, then you've got to ask, where did the Big Bang actually come from? What actually triggered the Big Bang? But another leap of faith that scientists expect us to take and be blind to is the fact that the claim that a comet destroyed all dinosaurs and most living creatures that lived on the earth at that time. But that doesn't make sense either, when you think that and this was 65 million years ago, and yet dinosaurs, and again I've mentioned this in other videos, dinosaurs have been found with soft tissue still intact. How can a 65 million year remains still have soft tissue still intact, still, you know, meat on its bones? It doesn't make sense. That's not even fossilised. It's been dead for apparently 65 million years, and it's not even fossilised. And this comet, by the way, that wiped out the dinosaurs, it didn't wipe out birds or crocodiles or ducks or snakes or bees or sharks, crabs, lobsters, duck-billed platypuses, turtles, cockroaches. All them animals survived being hit by a comet somehow, whereas dinosaurs couldn't survive it. No, not one single species of dinosaur, other than what you could say, other than crocodiles and alligators. I mean, how did that happen? How does that actually make sense? I mean, to me, it doesn't make sense. I mean, it seems like people that believe in science are having to take a leap of faith, and science is constantly proved wrong anyway, and has been constantly proved wrong throughout history. Whereas the Bible is still to this day, 2,000 years after the New Testament was written and 3,000 years after some of the Old Testament was written, it's still very hard to actually prove anything in the Bible scientifically wrong when you start to do it. And I've been trying to do it myself, so I know it is. And I've been looking on Reddit at things like events in the Bible that people think proves that it can't be true. And one of them said Noah living to be 130 years old, that proves that the Bible is nonsense. And it's like, well, it doesn't really, does it? Because how do we know the lifespans of people then? I mean, maybe the lifespans was as long as what the Bible says it is. It's actually backed up by Sumerian writings as well, that people live longer than. If you look at the Sumerian kings list and the Babylonian kings list and stuff, you know, some of the kings reigned for hundreds of years. So maybe people did have longer lifespans back then than what they've got now for some reason. And also the Bible talks about ancient giants, obviously, and this is another thing that there's evidence of, and it's being hid from the public. And scientists just lie. A lot of scientists just lie to try to debunk the Bible. I mean, Richard Dawkins, in his book The God Delusion, Lies, he said that it's under scrutiny among historians whether Jesus even existed or not, when that is a lie, and he knows it's a lie because it's not under scrutiny among historians whether Jesus existed or not. Most historians believe that Jesus did exist, and they believe that because of evidence written within the Bible and also evidence written out of the Bible. And even, I mean, Jesus is one of the most written about historical figures ever. If you're going to start saying that you don't believe that Jesus existed, then you're obviously going to have to start saying that you don't believe Julius Caesar existed as well, because how can you believe any historical writing if you're going to dismiss all historical writing about one person because it doesn't fit an agenda for you to say that he exists, and it doesn't suit Richard Dawkins' arguments. And you know, there's a lot of evidence now that science is totally wrong about a lot of the things that they've been telling us for years. And I'll give you some more examples of this off the top of my head. I mean, we're told that a hydrocarbon liquid is created, like oil and energy on Earth, is actually created by dead animals and trees and all this stuff, like, and it's fossilized and it's, you know, created over millions of years, oil, which we now run our cars on, and all, you know, all this sort of you know, everything is run with oil, or well, it was anyway. I mean, things are starting to move to electric now, but even electricity, most electric, I mean, a lot of electric in Britain is actually created by generators, like backup generators to the national grid they've got, because so they're burning oil anyway. I mean, that's what makes me laugh about electric cars. It's like when you're charging them up, the electric is sometimes from burning oil, you know, so they have to burn oil to charge an electric car up. So what's the point in having an electric car? It's exactly the same as having any other car. But Saturn's orange moon has actually got more hydrocarbon liquid than Earth, and Mars also contains hydrocarbon liquid. So if these two planets, well, Saturn's moon and Mars, have never actually had life or don't contain any life, then how is more hydrocarbon liquid on these planets, according to NASA, than there is on Earth? It just doesn't make sense. I mean, obviously, unless there was life on these places, like, I mean, and lots of it in abundance, for it to have 12, I think it was 12 times as much on Titan's moon as Earth, and that's just one planet. So science is constantly being proved wrong, and science is constantly being used as a way to try to undermine the word of God, and it's constantly failing to do so, and it has been now for over 1,000 years, maybe 2,000 years, and it's going to continue to happen because history always repeats itself. And I've started to come to the conclusion that most mainstream scientific ideas are proven are totally wrong, you know, and it's because we've been lied to. I mean, it doesn't matter how smart or how intelligent these people are. If they're not honest, then we're not going to get the truth out of them. And why would they lie like this? I mean, why would they lie like they do? I mean, you know, to keep us in the dark, I suppose is the obvious answer. Why wouldn't they? If you're going to try to control somebody, then part of controlling people is withholding information from them sometimes. But yeah, I'm going to leave it after this video anyway. Thanks for watching. I'm out.